Hi there, welcome to our video series on using Webex Connect for retail. My name is Paula Goldrich. I'm the product marketing leader for Webex CPaaS Solutions, and I'm joined today by David Creasey-Benjamin, DCB, our future messaging evangelist. Today, we'll be taking you through the innovative messaging channels we believe are essential for retailers to expand into to enhance both their digital and in-store experiences for your customers, separately or together. There are three main conversational entry points we see that you have with your customers. One, when they're searching and discovering your products or locations. Two, when they're looking to purchase a product or service. And three, when they're in need of some support. Where typically you may have used your website or email for some of these conversations, rich messaging channels can provide a new opportunity for you to take your new customers and turn them into true loyal customers. So now over to you, DCB, to talk us through a little bit more about what these messaging channels can provide to our retail customers.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Paula. And where we'll start is with your app. A number of you will have already invested in your app. You'll invested in your website, you'll invested in your call center, and you'll be delivering superb customer experiences to the people that have access to that service. People who keep your app on their phone are your most loyal. They're the people that actually give you space on the device that we use most frequently. But it isn't going to be the majority of customers. What we're going to introduce you to is a way to offer that experience to everybody. So to give your best customer experience from the point of discovery and sale all the way through to retaining someone as one of your most loyal customers. So the kind of channels that we're going to look at today enable you to be found wherever a customer is searching. So whether we're looking at a bricks and mortar store, whether we're searching for you on maps, whether we're on social media and we see a product that we suddenly are interested in, whether we're actually looking for you specifically as a brand, there is an entry point within a messaging channel that will make you available on the customer's mobile device. So we'll be looking at Google Business Messages. We'll be looking at some of the social channels. We'll be looking at Apple Business Messages for maps. And we'll be looking at directories on WhatsApp. And even our good friend, the QR code, which we now all, thanks to the pandemic, know how to use. Being across those channels and more will enable you to deliver that high-end customer experience that you want wherever the customer is, whether they've bought an Android device or an iOS device, whether they're searching for you in store or whether they're scanning an advert. They'll be able to find you, be able to shop your catalog in a variety of ways, whether that's through carousels or through list menus. But they'll be able to reach out to you and have a conversation as if they were sat in store. If they're talking to your best employee and they want to know about a particular product, you can be front and center on their device, having that one-to-one conversation and giving them the information they want. And then saying to them, should you wish to be able to purchase, you can complete that now. Using these channels, we know works, and we know that it works better than the more traditional channels, particularly over email. And we see higher engagement rates, sort of 3 times the engagement rate or more by using a rich channel as opposed to the email. We see a higher conversion rate. So we see 50% of more customers converting into sales. And we do still, moving through the life cycle, see a higher level of retention. When you reach out at the right moment to a customer onto their channel of choice, they're more likely to stay with you, 60% higher retention. And because of the way that these channels are set up, because it's verified as you as a business, you get the same level of reassurance that you do with a downloaded app that you've logged into. That's 90% feel more reassured on these channels because of the tick marks and the verification that come with them. So let's start with where you start, which is advertising. You probably spend a third of your budget with Google, a third of your budget with Meta, and a third of your budget on other, including television and print ads. So how do you get the best out of them? So let's start with WhatsApp. WhatsApp is run by Meta. It's a terrific channel. It has huge name recognition around the world, and depending on which country you're in, it can have up to sort of 90% of the general public available on it. One of the best ways we've seen is to link a TV advert via a QR code directly into a messaging channel. This example here is for the Webex car brand, and why wouldn't you buy a car from Webex? But if you're sat on your couch, you have your mobile phone on your leg. If you're pausing or the adverts are coming on and something takes your interest, a simple QR code, rather than linking to your website and leaving the customer to then go on and explore by themselves, can just as easily link directly into a conversation. So you can imagine going directly from a TV ad into a one-to-one conversation with your best agent. In this particular example, what car manufacturers want to do is to get you to take a test drive. 50% of people that take a test drive go on and buy a car. So that is what car advertising is about. So this example shows you how you can go from an advert, to have the brochure in someone's hands, to have them finding their local branch and booking a test drive within just a few clicks. So where do you first discover a product? For most of us, it's search. And 92% plus of us use Google, nobody else. So when you spend money making sure that you're top of those search rankings, how do you make sure that that spend is giving you the most return? And one of the best ways is Google Messages for Business. Google have recognized that one of the strongest calls to action is messaging, because it's from that moment of truth into a conversation with a one-to-one person or a one-to-one chatbot. In this example, you can see the customer finds you in the shopping bar. They're searching for a very specific product. If you are enabled for Google Messages for Business, you are higher in that bar. Google have made it one of the things that will push you up the algorithm and make sure that your version of the product is top of mind. You'll receive a message into your business to say, this is what the customer is looking for. And you can start that conversation right on the front foot and take them all the way through to delivery. The same with Apple Messages. Apple Messages for Business makes you discoverable within Apple Maps and across the Apple ecosystem through search. So you can go from the moment the customer needs something to they can buy it direct from you, or they can find out about it from you, or they know where your store is where they can come and collect it. Of course, not everything is about buying. Of course, once you've sold, it's also about looking after the customer. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to get support, whether it's just some help and advice. Who hasn't needed some help putting something together? Sometimes it is because something's broken and you need to process a return. If you've managed to sell or notify or keep the customer engaged on their digital channel, they are naturally going to go back to that channel for support, which means you are making them a digital native from the moment you start. This particular example is built in RCS, which is the default rich channel for Android. And just finally, we'll talk about how proactive marketing or proactive retention messaging works better over a rich channel. This is just one of the examples that we can bring to show you how it operates better than email. It arrives on the customer's phone from a verified endpoint. They know that it's you. You can reach out at the right moment. So you can take those triggers that you've built into your app and you've built into your website and you've built into your call center, and you can trigger the right outbound message at the moment you know a customer needs you. They know that it's you, they can engage with that message, and they can very quickly get the help and support or the upsell that they need. And the numbers speak for themselves. These are all versus email, but 500% uplift in campaign engagement, 100% increase engagement over email. This is what rich messaging gives you, because what you're doing is you're having a one-to-one personalized conversation directly in the customer's channel of choice.
Thank you so much for that, DCB. That was so insightful. I think we learned so much about everything that we can do with these future messaging channels. But I thought maybe we could just chat a little bit about kind of summarizing some of what you said and maybe going a little deeper into some of the things you alluded to. So I guess my first question for you is, we talked about a lot of different channels in the past 5 minutes. If you had to summarize, what would you say are the most important channels that retailers should look into?
I think for retailers, actually, it's much simpler than it is for some other verticals. Google Business Messages is a must. Everybody uses Google to search. There's a reason it's a verb. If you are there, you can start a conversation from any search. I think Apple Messages for Business is another key one. We already see a huge number of high-end retailers on there. And that is about being discoverable on an iOS device. Apple customers tend to be higher spending, tend to be the demographic that people are after, and Apple Messages makes you discoverable over any device. WhatsApp, huge advocate of WhatsApp. It has the best global recognition in terms of name recognition for customers. I think the last count is just shy of 3 billion daily active users are using WhatsApp to talk to friends and family. Business messaging there with their directory, with their catalog services, and with them introducing payments. We're seeing some really innovative stuff in certain parts of the world, particularly India, Latin America, and indeed here in Europe. So absolutely, that's a must. And then the last one I will advocate for is something called RCS, which is probably the channel you've never heard of. But if you own an Android device, you've probably got it. It's taking over from SMS on Android. It's going to be the new default. And the reason I advocate for that one is actually it's the direct successor to SMS. And we know that SMS marketing is incredibly successful, even though it's 160 plain text characters and it's links and all the other things. RCS takes that to the next level. It means that you get a verified message coming out. You can place an entire catalog within there, carousels. And in fact, the very first RCS business message that was sent in North America was by a retailer. And they offered their catalog in terms of men's and women's clothing and drilled down and were able to make sales, albeit back then via their website to finish the payment. And that's continued to evolve. And so as the numbers grow on that, absolutely for outbound proactive marketing, you won't do better.
That's wonderful. And when I think about how a retailer might look at these new channels and some of the barriers that they might see, you watching this video, you might be thinking of some of them right now. How can you talk a little bit about how you can reuse some of the operational setup that you already have with your contact center, outside of your contact center, with Webex Connect, to reuse some of what you already have to flow into these digital channels?
Absolutely. And the thing is, don't think of them as new channels necessarily. I know it's something going to be a strange thing to say, certainly for someone with my job title, but the channel isn't necessarily the most important thing. The important thing is always the content, wherever you're having that conversation. And retailers have already developed their best customer experience. It's just they're delivering them somewhere else. So if you've got customers on your app, they are your loyal customer base. Depending on who you are, your app reach may not be brilliant, and most customers are going to delete apps after 30 days. But you've done the work. You've got the content. You know the visuals. You know what your customers like, and you know the conversations that you need to have. What we're talking about with these channels is being able to have those conversations where your customers are. So they don't have to download the app, but you can give them that same high-end experience directly on their device, which is why the 4 channels I recommend would give you essentially complete reach, because Google, Apple, and WhatsApp essentially will cover everyone for most countries that you're in. We can get into some details about some other countries where other things are prevalent, but that's the big ones. And you can take that conversation you've already designed. You can almost imagine it as taking your best salesperson and putting it into the same place that customer is talking to their friends and family, and you're having a one-to-one conversation. That's what Webex Connect is about. You design the conversation, we take care of the channels.
It's good to know that you can reuse those things, that you don't have to start from scratch. These channels should not be scary in that you think you need to set up something completely new. You can take what you've built and reuse it to be where they are.
Absolutely. I mean, and one of our best, we know when people want to dabble their toes in the water, they want to start with something and they want to compare it to something they've already got. One of the most common things to do is to take an outbound email campaign where you've got the HTML, you've already got the assets, you've got the copy, and pass it to us and we'll put it into RCS, which is an equivalent outbound channel. If you've got a mobile number, we'll start sending the same stuff, use the same pictures, the same copy, but we'll place it in that messaging channel. And what you will get is you will get better engagement because it feels more personal. The more personal you can make a message, the better reaction you get anywhere. But because it goes into the messaging app where you're chatting to your friends and family, you will get a better response.
Yes, you absolutely will. So something you alluded to a few moments ago, DCB, was linking the experiences through channels, both in store and digitally. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you meant by that and how that kind of comes to life?
Absolutely. So if you think about pre-pandemic, we try not to mention it too often, but if you think click and collect, as it's known in the UK, or curbside pickup for my friends on the other side of the Atlantic, some people had it. Think of it now, how many retailers have it. So actually, that's one of the key examples of how you link online and real world, because you make it simpler for the customer to collect. What these digital channels can do means that if you go from a search, so you're searching for a store, Apple are a fabulous example of this. Go and search for your nearest Apple store. And what you will find is the top call to action is to message. And you can click on that. You can find out what stock's in store. You can reserve it, all of those sorts of things. And you can directly speak to a real person. So when you arrive at the store, you can walk in and say, I've done this. And the person in the store will have a record of that conversation. They can carry it on directly. It's another example. The other thing to think is, your store is your shop front. We do hear from retailers more and more that customers come in to browse. They come in to choose between one item or the other, which one's going to look best, and then they go and order it on the website. So actually what we've seen in a number of retailers, particularly large supermarket in France, they've placed QR codes for WhatsApp next to nearly all their products. And so when you're in the store, you can scan it. You can not only find out whether it's sustainable, whether it's green credentials or up to scratch, you can also add it to your order. You can add it to an online order, particularly if it's out of stock. So certainly from my point of view and from these retailers that are rolling this out across the world, there shouldn't be two separate experiences. What you're looking to do is to attract people. You're looking to help them to find the product they want. You want to sell that product and you want to support them. And actually, they will do that in a number of locations. And Messages allows you to take those experiences in and out of store. I suppose the other one, the final one that I will sort of point to is more around the support element. How often you can go into, let's say, an electrical retailer, and they will have a help desk. And often there's a queue for that help desk. And so you're expected to wait. Well, actually, what we're seeing more and more now is, okay, you come up, you can scan the QR code, we know you're in the queue, off you go. 5 minutes before someone's free, we'll text you, or we'll send you a message on the channel you've chosen, and then you can come back and be directly helped. Alternatively, they might try and help you on that messaging channel, and you might not have to wait for someone. So it's another way to enhance that in-store experience, and that's what we're looking for from a retailer. We want an in-store experience as well as to get what we want.
Yep. I think that makes complete sense, because it's not that you want to push customers towards one thing, away from another thing. You want to embrace all of the potential and give the best possible experience that you can. I know so many retailers they want to be the leading experience in X, Y, and Z, or they want to have the best experience for their customers digitally. It's utilizing all of the points of connection with those customers to make sure that that really is industry leading. And this is one piece of it.
Most retailers offer free in-store Wi-Fi. When you log in, typically you might give your email address and you might sign up for emails and get emails a couple of days later. Whereas actually someone logging into your Wi-Fi, you know their phone device, which means that you can talk to them on a messaging channel. You know, ask their permission. But imagine you can give them assistance from the moment they logged in. You're putting your best salesperson directly into a one-to-one conversation, whether they're free or not, because you're doing that in the chatbot. If a customer then logs into your website later on, if you're using a platform like Webex Connect, you can ensure when they log in online, the context of that conversation they've had in store is directly available for the agent. So if I walk into a store today, I take a look at, let's say, a couple of fridges. I'm not sure which one. I'm going to go home and measure it. And I go back in and I go onto the website to try and order it, and I'm having some problems. I talk to the agent, and the agent says, "Oh, I can see you're interested in these today in store. Did you decide which one?" "Oh, yes, it was this one. Thank you very much." That kind of context, that carry through from online and digital and in store, elevates your customer experience. That's what the best experiences are. You know me, you know what I want, and you can have that conversation with me. Yeah.
DCB, I have one more question for you. Can you share with us just one or two interesting use cases that you're seeing in the UK, in North America, or even around the world that kind of underscores this proposition of these channels and why retailers should adopt them?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the best examples, you can go and find them. India is a huge example. It's a huge test bed for WhatsApp and for Apple, for a number of these companies. So you tend to find really innovative use cases there. One of their largest supermarkets has put their entire catalog on WhatsApp. You can do your entire online shop in WhatsApp. And because it's in India, you can pay within the app. So actually online payments within WhatsApp is being rolled out. They've done that in India, done it in Singapore. They'll be rolling it out across the world. You're starting to see that in Brazil. You wander around Brazil, virtually every store has a QR code for you to scan. And you're starting to see that grow and grow and those experiences be offered. Apple are brilliant at this. If you're buying an Apple product, start with a search on your existing Apple device. Try the messaging app. They know what they're doing, and that's why they're attracting really high-end retailers, putting customers directly in touch with stores, booking, personal shopping appointments. There's some absolutely fabulous stuff going on in there, and you'll see that expand certainly over the next year into things like ticket buying. You'll be able to choose your theatre, choose your movie, choose your seat, make your payment, and have a ticket on your device in your messaging app as you walk through the doors to the theatre. There's some really innovative stuff being done. I'm very happy to say that some of it's being done with Webex Connect as well, because it is all about making sure you can have the conversation at the right moment, right channel, wherever the customer is.
Great. Thank you so much for your time today, DCB, and thank you for your time for watching this video. I hope that you'll continue watching the other videos in the series. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.